Jessica, one of the things that President Trump will do, no doubt, is to remind people that the economy that he inherited from Biden was the one that ramped up inflation. So because the media will always pick up on Democratic attacks like Shapiro, Newsom, et cetera, then President Trump, I think, getting out there will at least try to prevent any ground being gained by Democrats there.
He's going to try to, but the argument that the guy who's been out for a year, that it's all his fault when you've implemented a totally new economic agenda and that it's a failure in basically every corner of it, is not really resonating with people. When Joe Biden's inflation number was over 9%, the entire world's inflation number was up. Donald Trump doesn't have the same issues that Joe Biden did. He doesn't have a supply chain problem. He doesn't have a global health pandemic that was killing millions of people all over the world. He's just setting our economy on fire, and not in the good way, in like the dumpster fire way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Whatever It Is, It's Biden's Fault. I'm Elliott Morgan, and this is my last Rebel HQ video for the year, so I will hopefully see you next year. That was Jessica Tarlov throwing out some kryptonite to Republican talking points. And the kryptonite, in this case, to be very clear, is something called historical context. Darn it, Jessica. Did you not get the memo? Okay, you're supposed to just say it's Biden's fault no matter what. Have you not seen what's going on in Pennsylvania right now? People are incredibly unhappy, and we can't have that happening everywhere, okay? And action.
We're still struggling, even when we have our money coming through. We had to suffer going almost a week with no food.
I mean, food prices are up, but I think gas is down, coming down. I think things are getting a lot better.
The economy's down the tubes. Healthcare is awful. Prescriptions are terrible. Groceries are off the charts. And I think the only way we're going to do better is if he gets out and somebody else gets in.
What she said. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. You got to love the guy, though, who's just hopped up on copium in that clip. My goodness. We can't afford food, but things are getting better, like we can afford gas, so we can put gas in the car. And then we can drive to the grocery store and we can stare at the food, which is pretty cool. So I'd say things are going pretty well. Now, this next clip, y'all, is just absolutely incredible. I mean, it's one of my favorites that I think I've ever shown. And just so you know, if you want to make it a drinking game, just pour a shot every time you hear the word fertilizer. Yeah, fertilizer.
We are helping the American farmers. Donald J. Trump knows the importance of feeding America and the world, and we're going to get it done.
But that's not what farmers are telling you, right? I know that you've heard from them. They say they're hurting from tariffs. I know you had a town hall this summer. KMIZ reported about one farmer telling you it's not just that China was retaliating, they're not buying soybeans, even though that's back now. But tariffs actually drove up prices of fertilizer and other farm goods. So, I mean, this idea of loans, but when you were paying more for goods that you paid a certain price for before, and your margins are pretty slim. Do you think the administration is understanding this? Do you think they're getting that message?
Oh, yeah, they do. And they understand, as I do, that it was Joe Biden that drove up the price of fertilizer and fuel with his war on fossil fuels.
Well, no, that's not what this farmer told you. So what do you say to him?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now.
But that's not what this farmer told you, and he's the farmer who's telling you. He's telling you, and sir, excuse me, this farmer, you heard him. He said this to you.
Russia.
This farmer explained to you when he saw his prices rise.
So yes, we need to look at fertilizer prices. Fuel has come down and will continue to come down thanks to Donald Trump.
Are you listening to your constituents? Because he was very clear about why his prices were going up.
Republicans, the party of the people, just shut up about what that farmer said, okay? I'm talking now, all right? I'm wearing a suit and I'm talking, and there's fertilizer in Ukraine. You ever think about that? And Russia. So how about that? I don't care what the farmer had to say. I'm talking now. Now, look, I'm not trying to be insulting here, but if you do genuinely believe that any of these Republican lawmakers actually care about you, you might be dumb as rocks. I'm like, even if you didn't like Biden, if you can't tell how his presidency is being used as an excuse to cover over this administration's failures, you just might be dumb as rocks. Now, personally, I think them blaming Biden for literally everything is kind of hilarious. But in my defense, sometimes I can be dumb as rocks, all right? So here is Megan Hayes, the Democratic strategist, to explain this situation miraculously without having smoke come out of her ears.
I think continuing to blame Joe Biden for something when you've been in office for 11, 12 months now is the voters are now seeing through that. Also, the voters are seeing their grocery prices still continue to rise, and their affordable housing, childcare, all these different things still haven't come down. And these folks elected him to fix that, and they just aren't doing it.
It's almost like he lied, you know? It's almost like Donald Trump lied, which I know it sounds crazy because he usually is so on the up and up, you know? It's hard to even imagine him lying, but it does seem like that based on what was and what is, you know what I mean? That's usually how you can, when what is, and then that's usually how you can tell. So to round us out today, we're going to return here to Jessica Tarlov as sort of a symbolic tether to whatever threads of sanity remain in all of our brains. It's been a long year, right? It's kind of been long, and also she's just going to remind us that they're not even releasing data about the economy right now. That's probably good news, right? It's good when they just don't tell you what's going on, because normally they would be so on the up and up. Anyway, take it away, Jessica.
The A+++ grade, obviously that's ridiculous, but there are some key indicators that Donald Trump and his administration knows that this is going really badly. First, Susie Wiles having to go out there and say he's going to get back on the campaign trail. That'll really animate the right. Well, guess what? It'll animate the left as well. We aren't getting the jobs numbers anymore, the GDP numbers, or the inflation numbers. And we know that Donald Trump, if a number is even remotely good or he can lie about it, he tells you what it is. Layoffs on track for Great Recession levels. ABC says 70% are spending more on their groceries, 60% more on utilities. Reuters, manufacturing's been contracting for 9 months straight. And this farmer bailout, $12 billion of his tariff pot, which he didn't need to put the tariffs in the first place. And the farmers are speaking out about this. This is Donald Trump's problem. He's the one who caused this. The head of the National Black Farmers Association, agriculture in this country has been in complete turbulence and turmoil since the president got elected. This is a man-made crisis.
A man-made crisis. Now, where have I heard those words before? Probably best just to not think about it. Now, when farmers are being hurt by tariffs, and when families literally can't put food on the table, and when those tariffs were put in place by this current administration, who is also refusing to release the numbers about how the economy is actually doing, that could only mean one thing, right? It's Joe Biden's fault. Duh. You know what I mean? Now, what strikes me the most about this is just how insulting the Republicans are being to their own voters. Like, I thought this was supposed to be the party that wasn't like elite, and yet they're showing up on national television wearing suits, gish galloping, doing their best to completely ignore what their actual constituents are saying. They're telling them to ignore the evidence of their eyes and their ears and their pocketbooks. But hey, at least we don't have to deal with that woke stuff anymore. You know what I mean? You don't have to deal with that social justice warrior over Christmas dinner because they're going to be too hungry to complain about anything because no one can afford to put food on the table for Christmas. I feel like we're starting to live through like an actual real life version of the Christmas Carol. It's just like a really bad part. You know what I mean? So with that in mind, please go enjoy your holiday season, folks. And if you do end up getting visited by a ghost, don't be alarmed. It's probably just Joe Biden. He does that sometimes. Okay. So thank you very much. And I will see you next week because I looked at the calendar wrong. So very, very excited to see you next week. And if you didn't like this video, guess what? Guess whose fault it was? It was Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump's fault.